is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jack wagons. Brad Big Noise 17, joined by the good son, Nathaniel Lundy. This is indeed the Fade 5 Podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila, because it is a hashtag Tequila Thursday. And Lundy, you had a Christmas party last night. You just go ahead and crack that sucker open. Little the hair of the dog, I think, is going to alleviate any of the issues that you might have festering in your cavity right now.
Yeah, exactly. It is one of the things you need after a company Christmas party. All my crew with Mile High Sports, Mile High Life, Colorado Preps, we all got together in Denver. Brad, at a phenomenal new place. I'm disappointed that you're not here in Denver anymore, because you could have joined us. It is a place that just opened 5 weeks ago called the Basketball Social House. So, Brad, God, I want you to think of basically Top Golf for basketball. Tons of games, phenomenal food, great bar, great service, great people there. So if you are somebody that follows us here on the pod or watches the videos or whatever, and you're in the Denver area, as I am, highly recommend that you go check them out in Centennial. Really, really cool spot. Lots of games you can play. They've got a version of it. You get together like a group of 3 people, and it's essentially scored kind of the way you would do bowling in terms of different frames, shooting from different spots on the court. It's a ton of fun, and I have no athletic ability, people. None. Zero. And we had a great time last night. So I'm disappointed that you are there in Middle America and couldn't join us last night, but man, did we have a good time. So shout out to the crew at Basketball Social House that took really good care of us here in the Mile High City last night for our holiday party. It was a great time.
Yeah, I'm envious, and hopefully Basketball Social House has trampolines and 7-foot rims so I can dunk on somebody after about 6 or 7 tequilas. That's all the athletic ability that yours truly also possesses. Who has more athletic ability? Well, the guys are going to be in action tonight, and we have got a monstrous matchup out west. A lot on the line, really, for both these teams. The San Francisco 49ers, and ain't he Purdy? Brock Purdy at the controls going against Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Niners laying 3.5 right now. That is not budged. It's been that line all week long with a total now of 43. So Captain Hook Yar, who was part of that total, is vanished, has evaporated into the air. So what do you like here? Niners minus 3.5, total of 43 against the Seahawks.
Well, the big question, Brad, is who's going to play? Do we have any idea? Has anybody tipped their hat yet? Have they shown their cards? Do we have any idea whatsoever?
No.
Okay.
Well, except for Kenneth Walker III, I think he's going to play because he practiced in full, but
even you just said, well, I think, Brad,
because Pete Carroll's been non-committal about everything.
Well, he's too busy. He's at the store buying more gum. He's a masticator. He's actually not paying any attention at practice. He's just trying to figure out exactly where his gum is. San Francisco 49ers, one of the hottest teams in the NFL, obviously right now, with the streak that they have been on. But Seattle is not a place that you want to go as a first-time quarterback making a start in a hostile environment on the road. I think it's going to be loud. I think the 12s in Seattle are going to be really loud tonight. I think Seattle's actually got a shot to win this outright.
Yeah, I do too.
But I love the fact that midday yesterday, Brad, this line moved from 3 to 3.5. I love getting that hook here in this one. So I'm going to take Seattle plus the 3.5. I already said I think they can win it outright. But at the very least, I think this is looking like a field goal game. I'll take 20-17 either direction. I just feel like that's the score that we're going to deal with regardless. And so because I'm taking Seattle plus the 3.5, it doesn't matter to me who winds up winning. But I'm going to say this is 20-17 Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to go just slightly higher. I think Seattle's got a really good shot at winning it as well. I see the Niners pull it out, rabbit out of the hat late in the game, 23-20. So I'm on the under, and I'm taking Seattle plus the points. And if you look at, the action right now, it's fascinating at BetMGM. As you and I always get the emails from John Ewing, who oversees all their social media and all of this pertinent information. I'm looking at the splits in this game. 64% of the bets are on the Niners, but 70% of the handle is on Seattle, which tells you there could be some sharp action on the Seahawks and the home team there. Meanwhile, 89% of the handle is on the under, and that's why we've seen the shift from 43.5 down to 43. So honestly, I'll tell you how I played it. I took Seattle plus a 3.5 on the standard line. I did an OGP and took the total up to 48.5. So building a little bit of cushion there in case it becomes a sneaky shootout of sorts, and it's plus 160 if that two-legger hits, and that could buy a handsome bottle of Suavecito Añejo.
Yeah.
Looks, let's get after it and crack open that bottle, por favor, with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero cinco, a guy's name. They gotta have spell check here on my MacBook because there is no way in living hell I could spell this, even if my life depended on it. But Kyle Juszczyk, I'm taking the over, baby, on 7.5 receiving yards for the fanciful fullback of the San Francisco 49ers, minus 115. At DraftKings. You look at Juszczyk. Now, to be honest, I grabbed this when it opened at 6.5, so it's already up like one lousy yard, and that could play an enormous difference, quite honestly. His last 3 games, 7 targets, 7 receptions. He's gone 2, 12, and 7 yards in those contests, so he's been over just in 1 of 3, ever so close last week. But Brock Purdy's, look at him, again, 2 to 3 times per game. He's averaging right around 13 or 12 routes per contest. And you look at Seattle, they've given a 5.5 receptions, 44.5 receiving yards per game, the running back position, 16 cats, 16 dudes have gone over this number, though Juszczyk was not one of them in the first matchup in week 2, only had 1 measly target. Did not catch that pass from Jimmy Garoppolo, but could be a different story for Brock Purdy. The heat is dialed up. He can look into the flat to his safety valve underneath, and I say the 2 receptions that Juszczyk is going to haul is going to lead to at least 8 or more receiving yards. Lundy, fade or follow?
Well, I'm with you, Brad. I actually got lucky. I got this at 6.5 before it went up, but you know how much I love the one and done props. These are my favorites, man. NBA, either made threes, steals, or block shots. Always enjoy those one and done that you can do. And this is the same kind of thing with a one and done with a guy like Juszczyk. And I, as many times as I've spelled his name, Brad, I still can't do it. Like I think I try to put like an extra Z in there. I always mess it up. I'm right there with you. But so I liked it at 6.5. I'd play it at 7.5. I'm not going any higher. If this thing moves again, I'm staying away. Just in case it is the one catch and he winds up at 5 yards and we're screwed because he doesn't get the second one. But you're right. He's looking his way. This is a guy that they like to have fun with him around the red zone. You know, he's somebody that sometimes you can get some really good payday when it comes to an anytime touchdown for him, because they do like to work him in. They like to get creative when they get down by the goal line. But love this prop. For me, Brad, got to be honest, this one was number 1 on my list because I love the one and done aspect.
Kyle, Juszczyk. Don't sleep too hard on Juszczyk.
Number 4.
All right, let's work in an under here and live in the land down under on a tight end and a member of the Seattle Seahawks and Noah Fant from that Iowa pedigree, which cranks out tight ends like crazy, and they got a couple of them. They're going to be featured in this game. Of course, the other one we're going to talk about here in a minute, but I'm taking the under on 26.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at BetMGM, and this number is just way too high in my estimation. A guy that only had 1 target last week against the Carolina Panthers, though he has been over this total in 4 of his last 5 games. Still, he's averaging just 3.6 targets per game on the season, and he is tight end 22, double deuce, and average depth of target. So he's a nickel-dimer in nature. You look at San Francisco, given up 4.2 receptions and 32.9 receiving yards per game. But if you look at the game logs, only 3, that's right, 3 plus-size options have gone over the 26.5 line against them this season. So pull it all together. Only points in one direction and one direction only. That is the under 26.5 receiving yards on Noah Fant, minus 115 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow.
This one I also really like. Take the underwhelming plus-sized target in Noah Fant. Part of the trade that brought Russell Wilson here to Denver when Fant went to Seattle, but he has been a bit of a disappointment, at least so far, in terms of their usage. This just isn't a good matchup for him. We can talk about tight ends in this game, but this isn't the one that you want to be doing anything with the over on. Take the under. I'm with Brad. He may not crack 20.
Noah Fant, fade the living daylights out of him.
Number 3.
Oh, sticking with the Iowa tight end theme. We had Dallas Clark and Tony Moeaki in this game. Our life would be complete if you're a Hawkeyes fan. But I am taking the over on George Kittle, 3.5 receptions. I actually grabbed this at plus 100 when the line opened. It's still a lighter juice at minus 105 at BetMGM. This is a sensational matchup for Kittle on paper, as Seattle's given up 4.4 receptions and 61.4 yards per game through the air to opposing tight ends. 6 tight ends have gone over the 6.5 catches in a contest against him. And you look at Kittle, he was a DNP. Remember in the first matchup back in week 2, that was a Ross Dwelly game, who had 1 catch for a whopping 38 yards. But still in the second act, I think it's going to be a whole lot of Kittle here. He's been over in 6 of his last 11 contests. And he did it last week with Purdy under center. And with Purdy at the controls, he's averaging close to 6 targets per game. So Kittle should be highly active, should be working primarily in the short to intermediate field. And he'll get at least, I believe, 4 catches in this game. And I'm taking the over on the 3.5 as a result. Minus 105 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow.
George Kittle is what Noah Fant wishes he could be. You know,
true.
you find that person that you look up to. You know, we talk all the time about these athletes that have the poster up in their room, right? Somebody that they idolized when they were younger. Fant would love to have the options that George Kittle has in terms of being an offensive weapon. Because frankly, I think Fant could do it if somebody could figure out exactly how to involve him in the offense, which Seattle hasn't done so far. But I digress. Take the over on this one. This is also Kittle, another guy that I know you're going to talk about coming up here on the list. You want to talk about a game, folks, that you could have some fun with an OGP that you build just on receptions, which Brad and I like to do, right? Oh, give me this guy for 2, give me this guy for 3, give me this guy for 3, give me this guy for 4. Put it all together, get yourself to plus odds. Kittle is a great one to do it with. Go snag the 3 catches, something like that. Build it into your OGP. I know Brad's got something coming up for you that is along those lines. But this is a game with some of these targets that are perfect for that kind of a play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Go ahead and get your grubby little mitts with some George Kittle again and a lighter juice, and get your lips on a bottle of Suavecito Añejo right now. We're all their products. If you like the Blanco, maybe some margarita action, you like the in-between, the Reposado, or you want to shell out the extra cash. It is a holiday season. You deserve it after all with the extra Añejo. Strong vanilla finish on that one is outstanding stuff. That is Suavecito Tequila. Our sponsors here on a hashtag Tequila Thursday. Pick up a bottle now. Not familiar with Suavecito? Well, in 2015, Forbes magazine in New York City contacted 10 tequila experts around the country, one in Cali, Texas, Florida, New York, and asked them a simple question. What is the best tasting tequila in these United States of America? And 1 week later, on the front page of Forbes magazine, was a picture of a bottle of Suavecito Añejo. Grab some love juice tonight and throw a betting fiesta on this hashtag Tequila Thursday. Get Suavecito at any Total Wine and More, or ask for it where you are. We consider it a favor. Gracias.
Number 2.
Numero dos here. Let's do an OGP/SGP, and come with me on this one, Lundy. Would you kindly? I'm going to go leg numero uno, DK Metcalf, under 84.5 receiving yards, and I'm going to slap that together with Marquise Goodwin the former track star, 10+ receiving yards. And, oh, let's slap that together with a third leg. Why the hell not? It's a Thursday. It's nearly Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. CMC, 35+ receiving yards. All three of those legs hit. You're looking at plus 140 at DraftKings. If you look at DK Metcalf, a guy that's been kind of up and down this season, the 84.5 yards, rather strong. Now, he has achieved that in 2 of his last 3 games, but in the first matchup, which I think will be kind of a similar showing here in week 2, 6 targets, 4 catches, 35 yards. That's it. Now, he may, flirt with 50 or 60 yards, but 84.5, does he get to 85 yards against one of the stellar secondaries of the NFL? I don't see it happening, so I'm going to take the under there. As for Marquise Goodwin, a guy is number 1 right now among all wide receivers in yards per target with 11.8. He has been over this number in 7 straight games. He's averaging 20+ routes per contest here in his last 4. He's a guy that usually operates on some of those post routes, some of those slants, and that 10 to 15-yard range. So, honestly, this is 1 catch. That's all he needs, and I think he's going to cash on that. Probably get a couple of receptions from the deft hand of one Geno Smith. And you look at CMC at the 35+ receiving yards, a guy that has done this in 7 of his last 10 games, so stretching back to his days in Carolina. He has got 41 targets in his last 6 contests, those with the San Francisco 49ers. I got no Deebo Samuel, and I think that's absolutely critical here to his usage underneath. Deebo accounted for 7.7 targets per game, and then throwing in the fact, too, that Seattle is giving up 5.5 receptions and 44.5 receiving yards per game. 5 guys have gone over this at the running back position this year, and I think that leg will hit. So, Lundy, fade or follow, what leg screws it up? If you are fading, DK Metcalf under 84.5 receiving yards, Marquise Goodwin 10+ receiving yards, or the Football Factory CMC 35+ receiving yards plus 140 at DraftKings.
Well, if anything's gonna screw it up, Brad, it's probably gonna be DK, because you laid out the perfect reasoning for CMC. I think Goodwin gets well over that number. So the fact that you're only sitting at 10. So by matter of elimination, if there is a leg on this that is going to screw you up, I've got to think that it's DK, just because if all of a sudden something happens, he breaks a little extra yardage after the catch, something like that winds up pushing him up over this total. If he gets to, a couple weeks ago against the Rams, he had a catch for 40 yards. Like, if something like that happens, I think your under could be a little underwhelming, shall we say, on your SGP. But in general, I like the direction that you're going with this. Obviously, up against a good San Francisco defense, I think it's likely that Metcalf stays under this number, but you got to cross your fingers that he doesn't break something big and you're sweating late in the 4th.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Speaking of sweating, Lundy, I'm already starting to pull up with some of the nervous thoughts I'm surely going to have coming up. But we'll say bonus time in a minute. Let's get to number 1.
Number 1.
Speaking of the Football Factory, he's going to crank out a platinum hit in the box score tonight, I believe. I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey over 4.5 receptions, minus 115 at DraftKings. For all the reasons I mentioned why I like him on the 35+ receiving yards, it's just the Deebo absence that is most, I think, supportive of him getting to 5+ catches. Again, Deebo racked up 7.7 targets per game. Those looks have got to be spread out somewhere from Brock Purdy, who is going to receive a lot of pressure. You look at the Seattle front line, they're an assertive, aggressive unit. And a young quarterback, why not go to one of the greatest underneath weapons in the game right now? Could catch a little 2-yard flare and take it for 25, or take it to the damn house. You look at CMC, he has again those 41 targets. His 6 games in his last 6 games with San Francisco, he has hit the over on this in 3 of his last 7. So kind of up and down in that capacity. But Seattle giving up 5.5 receptions per game to the position. So, Lundy, I know it's a McCaffrey-heavy pod so far. does this one fail me? Christian McCaffrey over 4.5 receptions, -115 at DraftKings.
Not a fan. Not a fan of this one because
damn
I'm
it.
worried that you're going to get hooked. Now, that said, they got to get him involved. You've been talking about Debo. We've talked about what the game script might look like. We're talking about a hostile environment in Seattle. All of those things should mean that we're going to see heavy involvement with CMC as they try to, move the ball up and down the field as best they can. So I can see why you want to do it. I'm not a fan of this one. I would probably stay away personally, but for San Francisco to have success, he probably needs to get over this number. So I can see, like I said, a game script that sort of requires the idea of getting behind this one. I just, kind of meh. Could be the hangover talking. I'm meh on this one, so I might stay away from it. But I understand the logic of why you'd want to chase this one.
Gonna make you sweat. Bop, 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 baby. Yeah, the CMC Football Factory is certainly going to do that, along with some of these bonus time bets. Lundy, go ahead and slap on another layer of Old Spice because you're going to pool up in all the wrong places. What else you got on your card tonight?
Let me throw an anytime touchdown out there for you. I know a lot of folks try to take advantage of the primetime games and the bonuses that a lot of the books do. Give me DK Metcalf at +170. I'm getting seduced by that number. Kenneth Walker is even money. He's +100 right now at DK, but I'm going to get seduced a little bit by that really sexy number with DK Metcalf. So I'm going to take a +170 on an anytime touchdown. Brad, I told you I love putting together those receptions one game parlay SGPs. So I did this one at DraftKings this morning. Check this out. CMC, who we were just talking about, give me Christian McCaffrey at 3 or more catches. George Kittle, who we talked about, at 3 or more catches. Marquise Goodwin at 2 or more catches. And finally, Tyler Lockett with 4 or more. Pretty achievable numbers, right? Throw all of those together, +115. Kind of surprising that low of a threshold actually gets you to plus odds with those 4. Lockett 4+, Goodwin 2+, Kittle 3+, CMC 3+, +115 at DraftKings. Then 2 picks for you on the ice tonight. Pretty solid schedule of games that the NHL has tonight. 10 of them in total. Give me Pittsburgh just straight on the money line at a -115. Right now, Florida's playing their 4th game in 6 days. So even though the Panthers are at home, I think they're a little bit tired. Pittsburgh right now looks really good in the East. They're playing really well. And Florida, even though, how they've been performing, they're getting outshot, which Sidney Crosby and company will do. So I'll take Pittsburgh just straight on the money line against Florida. That's a -115. And then put together a 3-leg money line in the NHL tonight. All 3 heavy home favorites. Give me the Devils at home against Philadelphia. Give me the Lightning at home against the Blue Jackets, and give me the red-hot Boston Bruins, who basically are unstoppable at home right now against the LA Kings. If you put all 3 of those together, you're going to get a nice +151. Ooh. And again, heavy home favorites, but all of them should win and should win relatively easily. So take that payday on the ice tonight.
Oh, man, that's a spicy one. I like that quite a bit. I know nothing about hockey. I know that is your bread and butter. So why not follow Lundy on it for S's and G's? Let's go back to the Thursday night affair there on Amazon. And I just threw this together on DraftKings on a same game parlay. You and I are both on the same page with Marquise Goodwin. I got 2+ receptions. And the other guy I want to throw in this, just a 2-legger, is Jawan Jennings, 3+ receptions. You get a plus odds, +110 on that SGP. Jennings, another one of those guys that can pick up the slack from the vacated, spot of Deebo Samuel and those 7+ targets per game. Jennings primarily works out of the slot. Going to get a lot of Kobe Bryant, COBY, in this game, who is the primary slot DB for Seattle. Bryant has given up a 108.3 passer rating to his assignment. So I like Jennings. Could be a sneaky good guy in very deep fantasy leagues if you have multiple flexes, if you want to entertain rolling the dice and putting them in your playoff matchup. Let's go to college basketball, shall we? It's a light slate tonight, but the game that really stands out to me is UC Irvine. I'm going to take the +1.5 on the road against the Broncos of Santa Clara. If you take the money line, I grabbed it this morning at +100. I don't hate that either. You look at Irvine, number 62 in Bart Torvik overall. Santa Clara, number 117. So Irvine, the better team in general, and a very good defensive squad. Number 47 in the country, an effective field goal percentage. D, only giving up 29.1% from along the arc, and that is pivotal because Santa Clara jacks a boatload of threes. So if they're out there challenging shots and those shots are not falling, I think UCI will have a leg up in this game. And watch out for DJ Davis, who has been outstanding for them, a guy that's shooting 46.6% from three. And it's not like he's only taken 3 shots. He's 27 of 58 from way downtown on the season. So I like UC Irvine, go Anteaters. And the other matchup I like the under in the Wisconsin game. They're playing Lehigh. It was north of 300 in Bart Torvik standings. It's 134 on the total. I think it's a little too high. You know, Wisconsin, a good chance will crack 70 points, but what will Lehigh end up with? I think they're going to be lucky to get to 55, to be honest with you. This is a style that contrasts because Wisconsin, number 327 adjusted tempo, Lehigh, number 24 in that category. So Wisconsin's going to apply the brakes, frustrate this Lehigh team that likes to play up tempo. Not only that, Lehigh, number 332 college basketball and adjusted offensive efficiency, though they are shooting 37.3% from outside. Still, you know, Wisconsin doesn't give up much from outside, only 28.8%. And they have had their struggles offensively at times. Number 221, an effective field goal percentage offense. So this all factors in, all plays in to the under 134 heading in Lehigh, Wisconsin. And one NBA play for you. Speaking of the under, I'm going to take it on Giannis. 44.5 points plus rebounds against the Grizz. Giannis hasn't done this in 4 straight games. A guy that's averaging 30.5 points per game and 11 rebounds per game here in the month of December. That's below the 44.5. Last year against Memphis, he was over in one matchup, under in the other. And you look at Memphis in the last 10, 7th fewest opponent rebounds per game allowed and 3rd fewest points per game allowed. I don't think Giannis gets to 45 in points plus rebounds. And that is a wrap on this edition of the Feed 5 podcast presented by Suavecito. Again, go out, pick a bottle right now, Total Wine & More, or wherever you buy your liquor, and if they don't have it, demand it. It's wonderful stuff. Again, I love the vanilla finish on that. Drop us a rating and or review, would you kindly, if you enjoy this podcast. Also, fade or follow us on Twitter. Our free spreadsheets, all of our picks in there that we're tracking, the good, the bad, the ugly. Lundy at Nate Lundy, myself at Noisy Huevos. For Nate Lundy, who is going to, I think, inject an IV to recover from the Christmas party last night.
Pedialyte. Give me some. Bartender.
Your friend.
Bartender. Yes. They should really, I'm telling you, bars need to start stocking that stuff, Brad. Got to have it behind the counter.
In a night. Last call, you get a drink. It's a Pedialyte.
Yeah, they need it in one of those little coolers, you know, like you see those little branded refrigerators that they put the energy drinks and stuff in. You need one for Pedialyte. But yes, I will be taking in a lot of fluids very quickly to be able to rehydrate my body because we got a game to bet on tonight.
Damn straight. It is a hashtag Tequila Thursday. Enjoy Seahawks and Niners. And as always, until next time, fade or follow. That is up to you.